Let's talk about curating and validating your data sets. When you have a lot of data, you want to make sure that your model is being trained on the best data that it could be. And for that, you sometimes want to select a subset of your data, the highest quality subset. You might want to annotate that subset and then validate its quality before training a model. Today, I'm going to show you how you can do that. I am here in my project called Coco1K. This is an object segmentation project, but everything I'm showing you will apply to any type of data you have, whether it's audio, video, text, documents, or whatever. Here I have my datasets tab, and the first thing I want to show you how to do is how to add or connect a new source. The options I have are to use an existing folder or bucket from my project. In this case, my data is stored here. I can also upload new data directly, and here's a code snippet on how to do that you can open as a notebook. And then I can also connect an existing storage bucket. When I do that, this status light would turn into orange, which means that the data source is being scanned. Once it's ready, it will be green. So I'm going to skip that for brevity. And if for some reason there's an issue, it might turn red. So here, what I'm going to get after scanning my folder is I can see the gallery of my files. And this will work for any data type, not just images. You can also see some pre-calculated metadata. So in this case, we have height, width, and the type of data, and I can actually query this. So if I want to see all the images that are narrower than 400 pixels, I can run this query and see that subset of images. But of course, this maybe is not the most interesting query, though you can add your own metadata, and that's where things become a bit more interesting. So here I have some additional metadata, for example, the categories of objects in my dataset, and then I can run queries like, give me all of the images that contain a dog, which is subset, but you can see that I have some hot dogs here and I don't want them. So I can actually go into my advanced query builder and add another condition, which is that I want my queries to contain a hot dog, and add a not to this. So all of the images that have a dog but are not a hot dog. And now I have my dog images. I can actually also sort my data source. So for example, if I want to sort this by the size, let's do that. And let's do a descending sort. I can now apply this and we'll see the images ordered by their file size. So now that I have that, the next step is I might want to save this data set so that it's available to other team members or for the data science team members to train the model. So I can click on Save New Dataset, and we'll call this the dog and not hot dog sorted dataset. And let's save this. And now when I go, you can see that the name changed here. And if I go back to my Datasets tab, I can see that I have my data sources. And when I scroll down here, I will actually have my dog and not hot dog sorted dataset appear here. When I open it, I get exactly the same thing, including the queries and the sorting that I selected. Now, there are two things that you should know about this. First, a data source is defined as something that comes from an external source. So this can be a folder or a bucket, everything I showed earlier. A dataset is basically a derivative of a data source. So it is a data source with an attached query or sorting or any other parameter that you add to this. Now, by default, the data sources that you create are always updated. So what that means is if you notice this as of now marking here, it means that if tomorrow I add a new image that includes a dog, I will see it in this subset, right? And so that means that it's going to be continuously updated. It does not have to be this way. In this case, for example, I have an elephant dataset that is frozen to a specific date and time. So that is also possible. Now, metadata is not limited to just text and numbers. We actually also support showing annotations on top of your files. So in this case, you can see the segmentation maps on top of my data, and that's hopefully helpful in understanding how things are looking. It's not just static. You can also version any of your metadata, including the annotations. So for example, if I want to compare how my annotations looked a month ago, I can select this and we can call this month-old annotations. Once I add this field, we will have the month-old annotations here, and I can actually show them over one another. Now in this case, maybe it's not that useful because it's the same colors. So I can actually select to color it by field. Let's give it a more contrastive color. And now I can actually compare. And I can see that, for example, in this image, my annotations actually changed a month ago compared to what they are now. So this is easily detectable in the visualization that we provide. This is not everything that we visualize. Let's say you have some custom visualization, something that I can't even imagine. But in this case, let's say I want to visualize the activation map. So like a heat map over my image of where my model finds something interesting. I can actually report that. And if I scroll down on the sidebar, I'll see the display thumbnails. So if I remove the annotations here, I can actually activate this. And now I'm seeing a custom visualization that I added to this data set. So we can see how the model views my data points and makes sense of what's going on there. This might be useful for a bunch of different things, but know that you can do this as well. Metadata is editable. So that means that when I go into this image, I can actually change any of the information that I see here, except for the auto-generated metadata. So if I want to add another class, I can actually edit this and add a new class like rocks, and then save this if I want to. And of course, you might want to do other things, like I have this valid metadata, which tells me that this image is valid and ready for training. But I don't have this in this next image. So maybe I want to add it. I can add a new metadata layer. I can give it an existing name or a new name. I can select this to be true, and then I can save it. And now this is updated for all of my data points, and everyone can use this new metadata. Of course, sometimes you don't want to edit just one image at a time, so we provide a way for you to do bulk metadata editing. In order to do that, you can select multiple images, click on Edit Metadata here, choose the field that you want to edit, so let's choose the valid one from before, and we'll set all of these to true. I can now click on Save, and all of the images will have this new valid metadata attached to it. Now, when you, let's look at one last thing. When I had these annotations, right, let's go back to coloring by class. Maybe there is some issue in the annotations that I want to fix. Or maybe I don't have annotations and I want to add new annotations. Similar to how we did with the bulk metadata editing, we can select multiple files, click on Annotate, and then open a Label Studio instance that's fully integrated with DagsHub and edit or add new annotations. The way it looks is like this. I can see the annotations. I can edit them if I want to. And then once I am done, I can click on Update here. And then the Save button will be not grayed out. And I can click on Save. That will save all the information back to the project as you saw it earlier, which means that we can use it for training the model. Final thing is, after we're done with all of this, if we go back to our dog and not hot dog sorted data set, we might want to use this for training our model. So I can click on Use this data set, and then I get a code snippet that shows me how to connect to my data set and how to use it as an ML data loader. We support PyTorch and TensorFlow out of the box, or as HF dataset, which will give you a Hugging Face dataset. And you can also always download the files themselves if you want to use them directly. Just do dataset.all and then download _files, and you will download those files and be able to use them. This is a look at curating datasets. If you need anything, you can reach out to us in our Discord channel, which you can find on any page on the website here.